this new track that's coming up, if you could just let us know, is it aligned to R&B?
I think in the beginning, maybe for me, that was like a hard pill to swallow because I'm like, oh my god, I just came in with a pure heart. Like, I just want to be friends with everybody.
Something is that the one that I'm thinking, that colored dude with the lyrics. Who's that guy? Yeah.
Oh, Yams the CPT.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of think to yourself in your head, maybe one day I'll do that, you know. And then you actually do it, and you're like, oh look, I did that. That was me.
Exclusivity, guys. What did I say? Being the first to know the dot.
Ooh, gonna get me in trouble, but.
Hi, my name is Tendai Marowa. I am the founder of the Legacy of True Beauty. Welcome to Incite with Tendai. As you know that we are celebrating Women's Month. It's all about women and celebrating their career journey, who they are, and making a difference in whatever capacity they're doing. So today, I've got a friend that is joining me, a very special lady. We've known each other for like 2 years now. We met at church. And it's a funny story behind it, because if I tell you how we met, it was like literally she was sitting behind me and I was sitting in front, and we had to greet people, and next thing we connected. And ever since that time, she's become like a younger sister to me. And today we are getting to catch up with her about her new chapter as she reinvents and evolves, because you know, as us women, it's very important to evolve and reinvent yourself. So guys, please let's welcome Kea Zawadi, who is the YFM host, musician and actress. Hey my love,
Thank you for the intro.
Oh, I'm
Moments like these, I take them in. You lay right here, right next to me, babe.
yeah,
Thank you.
you know.
I'm good.
It's always nice to just let people know the behinds, the story, how you and I met.
Yeah.
How you been?
I'm good. It's great to feel like things are getting back on track again, because you know COVID can kind of make you feel like things are on a hold almost. So it feels good for things to be moving again. Yeah. So I'm well.
And I see now you're in that space of reinventing and evolving.
Yeah.
How is that space like for you, and what made you decide saying, you know what, this is a time for me to reinvent and change the capacity of who I am becoming? Because it's not about doing, it's about who you are. That's an importance, and you're becoming through this journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all about growing. And the moment you can feel that you're done growing, or you feel like, okay, cool, I'm not really moving anymore, then that's when it's time to get yourself a little bit uncomfortable. It's time to reinvent. It's time to build up again.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt like that. I felt like, okay, cool, I think I've ticked off a couple of stuff from my boxes, you know, so what else is there? Now let's reinvent. Let's start from the beginning. Let's build up. And then let's become who we really want to be, you know, not who other people say I should be, regardless of whether it's family, friends, it could be anyone really, but just becoming who I am wholeheartedly. I think really learning who Kea is and what Kea wants, it's been beautiful. It's honestly been very beautiful.
And do you think it's really tapping into your self-worth and setting that standard?
Absolutely. I think, what would it be if I wasn't tapping into self-worth? You know, what would it be if I didn't love myself?
Yeah.
You know? Exactly. You gotta know yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta know yourself.
I need to learn these short-term
I'm
words
telling
in the
you.
industry. Hey, remixing. Huh?
I'm telling you. I mean, you can't have other people telling you who you are. You can't. You have to tell yourself who you are, and then you tell other people who you are. So
that's where the creativity works in terms of how you present yourself in the industry. And for me, moving forward, I think the importance of sustaining yourself within the industry, because the last time when we had our chat, we spoke about the challenges, but I think today we want to really get into how do you sustain yourself and keep yourself sane within that's happening within the industry, because there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
As much as you start off and saying, this is who I am.
Yeah.
But along the long lines, if you're under media agency, etc., they change your branding perspective for sales, for marketing, and saying this is the image that we want to sell you. How do you put your guard down and say no, guys, and take control and say I am going to still sustain who I am despite the pressure?
I think sustaining yourself is really about not changing too much of where you come from. So let's say, for example, if it comes to friends, try not to change your friends too much, especially also moving to Joburg. It's kind of, there's this hype and people want to move towards people who gravitate towards them based off of whatever reason. But the thing is, you don't always know why someone is gravitating towards you, especially when you've almost already built yourself up. So I think it's important to keep the people around you who are there when you are building, because those are the people who know the core essence of, who you are and what you stand for. Not to say that you're not going to change or you're not going to grow, but those people can almost remind you of what were the goals that you wanted initially. So I think it's important to try and keep the same people around you. Yes, grow your circle, meet new people or whatever, but don't think everyone is your friend, because they're not.
That's true, eh?
Especially in the industry, not everyone is your friend, and I think in the beginning, maybe for me, that was like a hard pill to swallow, because I'm like, oh my god, I just came in with a pure heart, like I just want to be friends with everybody. But no, like it really is how can you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, or how can we help each other. Not all of them are like that, but try to keep the same people. Try your best. Yeah,
that's important, eh?
Yeah,
keep your circle smaller, as they say.
Absolutely.
And you are a reflection of your company, as they say. And that's the important thing. Now with these new projects, because you were popping with chill, hey, we're not giving us some sexy vibes. Everyone is fine. Now you've got a new track. That is come through. You've been featuring with other artists, which has been good to actually explore, which I actually love. It's two things that I want to ask you. Is there an album coming that I would like to know? And this new track that's coming up, if you could just let us know, is it aligned to R&B or it's a different genre?
So let me start with the new track.
Yes.
Because it's this EP and album.
This is exclusive, guys. I'm always the first one.
That's true.
To know these information.
That's true, because I just got out of the studio, actually. So I worked with a really cool DJ. I think I should probably... Okay, no, I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
This is why we're here. It's really exclusive. You don't call me.
So I recently worked with DJ Rico, who's quite a prevalent hip-hop DJ, who's worked with a couple of artists who we associate ourselves with today. And him and I were in the studio just this week, actually. So we're working on some R&B stuff.
Nice.
And also maybe even exploring into another genre as well. I am thinking about tapping into the piano scene just a little bit here and there. But not letting it take away from who Kea is, because I feel like, especially as artists, when you're coming up mostly, you kind of want to fit in and see, okay, cool, where's there a gap and how do I get into that gap? And maybe that's another way of making and doing well, right? So seeing where's the gap and how do I get in there? But sometimes another way of making it is really sticking true to who you are and what you know is gonna truly identify with your core, you know what I mean? So I don't want to change too much of me just to try and fit in, they must make space for me so I can get in.
Yes. And then the album, what are we expecting?
So if I take you through my phone, there's definitely more than enough tracks to make an album, right?
So what's holding you back?
Time and
Do
the
you
right
feel like
time.
you are waiting for the right time? You feel like now you still need to feature and collaborate with other artists?
No, I've never really made it about features or collaborations because I feel like a lot of people depend on features or collaborations to to get there, whereas if you have the talent, that should already speak for itself, so I'm not really too dependent on those. Yes, I have been collaborating with a couple of artists. There's a rapper from Cape Town who is extremely gifted, and him and I are doing a song, and we're actually in the process of working the lyric video.
Which one is this? Yum, something. Is that the one that I'm thinking, that colored dude with the lyrics? Who's that guy?
Oh, Yam's the CPT.
Yes. You see, I'm not a whole hip hop person, but you know who I'm talking about. Yeah.
No, it is not Yamsa CPT, but I'd love to do a song with Yamsa CPT, so he can hit me up for sure.
Yeah, okay, maybe
let's
I'll
work.
It to the universe. Sorry, I didn't know his full name. But
No.
Yeah,
but
he's
amazing.
the one that most people love. And,
Yeah. No, I'm working with another guy as well who has been getting a lot of radio play as well. He's doing good. So we're working on a song which we want to release before the end of the year. But then beyond that, an EP is definitely in the works for sure. I know that it's something that I want. I think maybe I'll release one more single or maybe two more.
Okay.
And then an EP as well. Just before I give that whole body of work, let me tease a little bit, let me put it in, just here and there. People kind of feel overwhelmed if you just come through and just give them all of you. It's almost like if you're on a date, right? And you sit down with this guy and you guys get to know one another and you just are like, hey dude, you must take me for who I am, and you slurp and you know what I mean? It's like, give people little bits of you, so they can digest. And
I love that. I love that. And I've noticed that you're very intentional because you've been collaborating with guys, the brotherhood.
Yes.
Is that intentional in terms of saying, I'm easy, I'm that person? Because most of your friends are males.
Right.
That's one thing we have in common. We get along more with males.
Yeah.
Is it that a perspective that because you're comfortable in that zone, you find it's a bit tricky getting the right female to collaborate with?
I have actually never thought about that.
Really?
Because now when I think about it, you're right, I have collaborated with mostly males.
Yes.
I do have a song, however, it's an Afro house, Afro tech song, where I collaborated with a female, with Tandi Dry.
Okay.
Her and I are good friends as well, and we collaborated on that song with Boki Alt, who is the producer of that song.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually the only female I've collaborated with, but everyone else it was male. So I think it's cool to have that. Just that variety in a song, because I kind of feel like if I have another female who's gonna come and who's gonna sing, now we're both singing, I don't know, maybe not now, maybe one day, but I've enjoyed working with males, just in terms of what they bring to a song and what I could bring to a song. But I'm totally open to collaborating with females. I think females can be a bit tricky. How there's sometimes this thing between females where you kind of walk into a room and then if there's other females there, they kind of already give you this look, and it's almost like we're competing. I don't know why, when I've always said less competition, more collaboration.
Yeah.
So once we can start doing more of that, I'd love to.
And you know who I want you to also work with? Two guys.
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
I think that would be dope.
Yeah.
And Pretty Ugly.
Oh yeah.
Those two.
Those people who I listen to as well. So
it'll be very, because now Pretty Ugly just dropped a new album.
Yes, it did.
So it's like his 8th album. So it's, So it's
quite
something
big
to actually have a chat with them.
Yeah. Those are two rappers who I feel like they bring some sort of substance to the music at least, I don't think it's always about the money and the girls and this and that, but there's you know what I mean? But there's a couple of songs from Rick where, he's being honest, he's being truthful, if he's talking about love, he's talking about love. If he's talking about, hey, this is what happened in my relationship, I hurt her or she hurt me or whatever, he'll chat about those things, and Pretty Ugly as well. There's a lot of substance in those lyrics. So I'd love to work with people who have more to offer than just yo, what's up, this is, but what are you about?
Tell us, show us.
Yeah, what are you about?
The lyrics, we want to hear more substance. That is true.
Yeah.
Getting into the acting scene, you have done 2 movies so far, a series and then a movie.
Yes.
And now the second movie that you have just done now.
Yes.
Tell us more about it. I know you don't want to say much or because it's still yet to be launched.
Yeah.
Just tell us about the character and why you chose this movie and when we can expect this movie coming up.
It's weird because I almost didn't get the show. So it's a series which is going to be on a national broadcasting station.
Okay.
So basically anyone who has a TV, if you've got cable, you can watch it.
Okay, so it's a series, not a movie.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
So it's a series, yeah. It's going to be on your TVs for about 3 to 4 months or so. And I was the lead, so that was quite cool, having my
Nice.
first lead.
Congratulations.
It was honestly a dream come true, and I almost didn't get it because I remember the brief being sent out from my agent, and I saw it, and I read the character brief, and I read what it's about, so I'm like, okay, this is cool, but I don't know why I didn't audition, or why I didn't, it's almost like I think I'd been wrapped up in so much more, so I thought, okay, let me just, carry on, so I ignored it, carried on. About 2 weeks later, then my agent sends me another email, they still haven't found the lead. I was like, they still haven't found the lead. I look, I'm like, yeah, man, but I think I could do this, And I call my sister because I was at home. So I call her, I'm like, dude, just feed me these lines quickly. And we do it it took like 10 minutes. We did it quick. I was like, okay, cool, let's just send it through. I've got nothing to lose, And then turns out a couple of days later, they're going to call me and say, you got the role. So that was quite hectic because I was like, oh my word, okay, this is it. But even then I didn't realize the magnitude because even this production company, they've worked with a lot of huge productions that play on your SABCs as well. So that just shows the magnitude of the show. It's going to be huge. I really believe in it a lot. And it was a lot of fun. It was fun. I got to learn. I got to grow. It was a positive experience altogether. I think that sometimes people walk away from productions feeling like, this person did this, or I'm no longer friends with Mang, or the producer was like this, whereas for me, I had such a whole experience, and I'm blessed. It was fun.
Can you give us a sneak peek of what the character, the movie storyline?
So,
exclusivity, guys. What did I say? Being the first to know the dot.
Ooh, you're gonna get me in trouble, but
just a little bit.
So basically, it's a story of this girl who doesn't really have love figured out, and she now goes on dates to try and figure it out. So that's all I can say. I can't say more.
And when is it launching?
Earliest December, or
Okay.
else it could be towards February next year. But they're saying the earliest TX date is December.
So
Yeah.
be expected between December and Feb. Yeah, I've been wanting those eyes.
I'll send you the post and everything.
Yeah. So getting into relationships, the love scene. You are you are doing the things of, So I want to know from your perspective, how do you maintain the trust and the relationship in that industry? Because both of you are in the industry. How do you maintain the love?
Sure. I think it really goes to showing true intentions from the start. I feel like in the beginning people want to fluff or give this preconceived idea of, no, this is who I am, whereas you really have to let your walls down and show this person who you really are. Not Tendai from TV, because everybody knows Tendai from TV. Who's Tendai? So I think that was something which really helped us, kind of just getting the walls down to know, okay, cool, who are you, who am I? And just being honest to say, okay, cool, what do you want? Okay, cool, you want this, well, I also want this. Let's see how that looks like. And even in the process of the relationship, being honest in that, if it's not working, to say, this is not working, or if it is working, to give that affirmation to say, hey, this is working as well. I feel like we're always so quick to point out when things go wrong, but when things go right, we kind of just keep quiet, or we'll, you know, sink into our chair. Whereas acknowledge that, hey, it's doing good, or you're doing good, I appreciate you. So it's really just about that open communication. Then it's so much more easier to trust as well.
So what advice would you give to those who are trying to juggle the relationship? Because it's complex,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Whether the person is in the same industry or not, what have you learned in this relationship that you can say, you know what, I would like to give advice that ladies,
Yeah.
this is how, because sometimes we also overwhelm ourselves and become
yeah.
too hard on ourselves.
Right.
And also, how much do you sacrifice of yourself?
Yeah.
Because I feel sometimes we give in too much of ourselves and we forget about loving us.
Yeah.
We forget about reflecting who we are, because we are now trying to give in too much to the guy to make him stay.
Yeah.
And I feel that's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you're with me on
Yeah,
that.
I get you.
Yeah.
It really goes back to who you are, because if you're not loving yourself, how do you expect someone else to love you? You know, I think that what people tend to do wrong in relationships is they become codependent. Like, okay, you take care of me, I take care of you, and we have this thing, but also how are you taking care of you? Because you know yourself better.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know you better than you know you, and vice versa. So it goes back to still keeping the essence of who you are. If you enjoy reading books, don't now stop reading books because now you're in a relationship and your partner doesn't like reading books. You know, I'm blessed to at least have someone who we have similar interests as well. But even when it comes to the differences, he is super supportive and wants to be involved in things that I find interesting. And if anything, I totally want to be immersed in what he finds cool and just what makes him tick. So it's also about that support as well. You know, like I may not always understand, but at least let me support you.
Yeah.
You know, above it all, we don't have to have the exact same trajectory of where we're going. But it's really about, okay, cool, you're going on this path, I'm kind of going almost the same place. How about we walk together? We don't have to merge our lives and everything. Let's just walk together.
Yeah.
You know, let's walk this path together. If you need help, cool, I need a lift, you just pop in here, pop in the other side, you know. But it's really about two individuals having their own journeys, but still in a way moving in the same direction.
So I feel from what I'm getting that support is very important to you.
Yeah.
It's one of the main key elements.
Yeah.
Accepting each other for who we are.
Yeah.
Not trying to change each other, and communication is key. Gaining that clarity.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are the most important key elements, guys. So we've got a game before we close up. I always like to end with my little game for this session.
Okay.
So you have to answer it very quick before we get into
Ooh, what type of questions? What are we being
the
asked?
ends the show. So define self-empowered in your own terms. One word.
Well, to define self-empowered, I have to say self. So don't depend on other people to empower you, but self must come from you first.
What is your favorite time to zone out?
Late afternoons, so around about like between 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. I will probably pass out.
And why?
Because I think I wake up early, I go and run in the morning, I work out, and then there's Zoom meetings, then there's this, then there's that. So usually when I get to round about that time, if I'm already home, I'm usually then just zoning out, put on a movie, pass out, or else I'll zone out later in the evening, like 8 p.m. So I sleep quite early. I feel like I'm getting old. It's terrible.
Favorite location? Can be out of the country.
Croatia,
And why?
because the water's so blue and the people are so friendly. Just being in a space where, as much as you're a foreigner, you kind of feel like you belong, you know, because the other European countries that I was traveling to prior, like your Slovenias or whatever, no hate against them, but yes, people were staring at me like, because you don't see no other black people, you're like the only one, so they look at you like, you know. But I was traveling with a group of people at that time. I was traveling with choir, and they were like, just think of yourself as Beyonce. They look at you because you're Beyonce, and I'm like, okay, well that makes me feel much better. But as soon as I got to Croatia, it was so relaxed, everyone very kind, even the restaurants, there's Wi-Fi everywhere, you know, don't worry about data. So if I could live there, I might just relocate. You never know. Yeah.
Favorite date night?
I love movies. I love movies.
So you want to chill, snack in,
Yeah.
watch a movie, that's your favorite.
Yeah, but like a proper cinema, right? So you can lift up your chair, you can lift up the thing for your legs, you know, you can snack, order what you want to order. That for me is like the best. Even just the smell of popcorn, like in the cinemas, and just the sound, that surround sound, for me, it's just love it.
And who inspires you?
Me.
Okay, me.
And I'll tell you, because I've done things that I never thought I could ever do, you know. And I think you kind of think to yourself in your head, maybe one day I'll do that, you know, and then you actually do it and you're like, oh flip, I did that was me, you know. So I just have to draw that inspiration from myself, because what happens, let's say for example, if Michael Jackson inspired me, now Michael Jackson's gone, now what, you know, whereas it's me, dog. I this is me, this is my life. So yeah, love it.
High five to that me. You know, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Then if you could please end with a favorite quote to the ladies, or favorite caption that you'd like to dedicate to the ladies out there. Women's Month.
Ooh, to the ladies.
Yeah.
I want to almost maybe even give it to everyone, you know. I think that Women's Day or Women's Month really shouldn't just be about, you know, women and what can we do, but also the men and how can you appreciate the woman, and, you know, if you're a son, what can you do for your mom, or all of that, you know. So for me, it's just a matter of drawing close to the people that you love. Time's ticking and it doesn't wait for anyone. And I think this season has really shown me and shown a lot of people that appreciate the people around you. Appreciate your loved ones, man. Time's ticking, really. So if you haven't called someone in like a week, do it today. Like right now. Yeah. Well, after you watch this, then you can call.
Call.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to say a toast to you, to the new movie coming out.
Yes.
And the new track that's coming out.
Yes.
And to many more. And please, the wedding, when it comes out, please don't forget to invite me. Cheers to that. I'm letting the universe know. But you know what? Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time with another guest. But I'm not going to let you know because Nayazi Litandizinto. So guys, tune in next time. Thank you so much. Ciao.